Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about the iPhone camera. What we always know is that the best camera to use is always the one that you currently have, and most of the time we always have our phones with us, which has a great camera on it. So today we're going to talk about some of the cool features of the iPhone camera so that you can always take the best images with it. Alright, so this video is not just for iPhone users. The features that we're going to talk about today are common among many mobile phones. So you Android users, I know you're out there. This video is also for you. Alright, so the very first thing we're going to talk about today is zooming with your phone cameras. Our phone cameras use something called a digital zoom. And what that does is basically crop the image every time you pinch to zoom on your phone. You don't want to do that because when you crop an image, you actually lose resolution. And when you lose resolution, you lose detail. So it is always better to just move closer to your subject physically with your phone camera instead of actually zooming in with the digital zoom itself. The next feature we're going to talk about is exposure. Exposure can be controlled by just tapping on your phone on whichever part of the image you would like to expose. So for instance, if you're taking a picture outside and your sky is really bright and your subject is dark, you might tap on that subject to expose for the subject. So the shadows would come up, the highlights would be blown out at this point because you've raised the overall exposure of the image by exposing for your subject. You can also manually control it by just tapping on your screen, and then once the sun icon comes up next to the autofocus point, you can just drag your finger across it and that will change the exposure. Drag it up to increase it, drag it down to lower it. The next feature is going to be focus. Just like with exposure control, you can tap on a specific part of your image and the camera will automatically focus on that part. However, if you were to move the camera any away from that part of your image, the camera will automatically go back to center focus. So if you want to lock that focus point in, hold down on the camera until you see AEAF lock. What that is auto exposure and auto focus lock. The exposure will not change automatically and neither will the focus. It will always stay focused on the specific point that you picked, and now you can manually control the exposure just like we talked about earlier by just sliding your finger up and down on the screen in order to adjust it to how you would like it to be. Alright, so next up we're going to talk about the grid. The grid is a really important feature that you can use to help elevate your images. The grid is allowing you to visualize the rule of thirds on your screen before you take the picture. So you can place your subject either on those lines or at the intersection of those lines. For example, if I were to take a portrait of someone, I might want the subject's eye to be right at the intersection of the lines because that will help to really drive home the point that that is where I want the eye to lead when someone looks at that picture. Alright, so next we're going to talk about flash. Flash is really important to pictures, especially in low light. What it can do is help add some artificial light to your images so that you don't have to crank up your shadows, you don't have to increase the exposure anymore. It's already set in camera. Now the iPhone and most phone cameras do not have a very strong flash, so you can't really use it to benefit you in highlight situations like I'm in right now, which is daylight, using natural light or other artificial lights. However, during a say sunset or something around there, you can really use it to help accentuate and bring out the details in your images as long as you are not overexposing the image, because it is really difficult to bring back details in an image where it's overexposed. Now up for everyone's favorite iPhone feature is going to be portrait mode. Many Android phones have portrait mode as well, and it has come a long way since it first appeared on iPhones and other devices. It is just so great that you can have that power in your phone. You don't have to carry around like a big DSLR camera. You can have it right in your pocket. Now, the portrait mode is a very loaded topic, so I'm going to make a whole separate video about it at a later date. But for now, just know that it is something that you can use to kind of sort of get that really nice, beautiful blurring effect behind you. You can use it on a person, you can use it on an object, or anything that you want to kind of sort of make stand out in your images. So next up, we're going to talk about creative filters, which allow you to alter the color of your images straight from the camera itself and not having to go into any editing software to change them. You can take your black and white pictures, you can take cooler looking pictures, warmer looking pictures straight from the camera without having to do anything extra, which is really nice and convenient. Next up is going to be the self timer. You can set the timer for 2 to 10 seconds, and what you can do is set your phone up and take a self portrait of yourself. To try to use a tripod to do this, or you can use other methods by by setting your phone up against books so that you can frame your picture and make sure that you can get in spot before the timer expires. And last but not least, I have a feature here that I think is looked over. Many people just kind of sort of forget that it's there and they never use it. And it's going to be the remote function. You can plug headphones into your phone, hit the volume button, and what that will do is cause the shutter to release, and that will take the image. Now you have control so that you don't have to be holding the camera, which can cause shake. And when you shake the camera, that might cause a reduce of quality of your image. And alright guys, that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe and leave a comment down below, and maybe even think about sharing it with your friends. That would really help me out and I would really appreciate it. Like I said, with portrait mode, that I plan on making a whole separate video about that. If you're interested in that or would like to see that happen sooner rather than later, go ahead and really hit that like button. Let me know and leave a comment below about that, and I will be sure to do that. In the meantime, take some pictures, flex your creative muscle, and also remember to tag me in whatever pictures you decide to post using DWP photo as the hashtag. I'll be able to check it out that way. So thanks guys, until next time, see ya.